Now let's come to the quasi-static processes and find out the PDV work in these cases. So let's take a look at the first two cases of constant pressure process and constant volume process. The constant pressure process is also known as isobaric process, and constant volume process is also known as isochoric process. Okay, now if you look at this graph, PV graph from state 1 to 2, at state 1 the pressure is P1 and the state 2 pressure is also same as P1, which is equal to P2. Now the volume, it changes from V1 to V2. Now if we have to find out the PDV work for this process, it has to be the work or the area under this graph, and this we know is the value P1, which is equal to P2, which is equal to P in this case. Okay, and this value, that is the abscissa, let us say this is V1 and the bigger value is V2. So the dimension, which is this, is V2 minus V1. So the area becomes P into V2 minus V1. So the work done in going from 1 to 2 for an isobaric process is the product of these two terms, that is P into V2 minus V1. So this is a standard value of work done for a constant pressure process. Now let's have a look at the constant volume process. In a constant volume process or an isochoric process, the state state changes from state 1 to state 2, and with the pressure as P1 at state 1 and pressure as P2 at state 2, but the volume in both the cases remains the same. Now if you have to find out the value of work in going from 1 to 2, it has to be the area under the graph, and the area under this graph is nothing but a single point, and the area of the point is 0. So the work done is 0. There is one more logic to it, that why this is 0. We know that in going from 1 to 2, it becomes V1 to V2 PDV. Now being the volume being constant, so V is equal to a constant value, the differential of the volume would be a 0 value. So this becomes 0, so the whole value becomes 0. Okay, this gives us a very important observation, that is, for having some work done in a quasi-static value, in a quasi-static process, there has to be certain volume change. Means volume change cannot be 0. So whenever there is a volume change, you will have some work done, and when the volume change is 0, there will be no work done. Okay, so this was the work done value in the two quasi-static processes we know as isobaric and isochoric. After this, let's move on to the next two, which is isothermal and adiabatic.